Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. We'll be spending the next hour and a half together in what I call the Mindfulness Bootcamp, um, where we'll be training our wisdom and our compassion as a warrior. All right. So after the hour and a half of exercise, I'll be doing another Dharma talk. And so the exercise that we do today at the end, when we stand up on the floor, there will be a set of breathing exercise that is called the pranayama. Prana means breathing, but particularly breathing with your stomach, with your diaphragm. Yama is the practice. And then in today's Dhamma talk, I will start with the 8 limbs of yoga, where pranayama is one of the limbs, in addition to the one that you're probably familiar with, which is called asana, the practice of the body. That's what the American yoga is focused on. All right, so before we do anything in the spirit of yoga, which in Sanskrit is yuja, Y-U-J, which means the yoke between the two oxen as they pull the cart. It really describes the synchronicity of your mind and your mind and the body together. That's the true meaning of yoga. So let's do that. Let's learn to focus on our body. Let's anchor our mind on the very bottom of our spine. Let's walk up that spine slowly, one joint at a time, towards the top of the head. As we do that, we stretch our spine. We continue to focus on the body. We continue to feel the change in the body as we stretch. We stretch as hard as we can, as if someone is pulling the top of our head by the hair. And then we're going to lean back, but again, we need to anchor our mind on the body. So as we lean back, we are feeling the change in the body. Now, in Chinese, the Taoists have a name for this part, in that sense that they're aligning the body, particularly the spine, which is one of the very important chi channel called the guardian channel. As you lean back, as you stretch and then lean back, they talk about aligning that channel with the earth and the heaven. What they're really talking about in modern language is aligning the magnetic field that is within you, that is outside of you. And so as you lean back, you feel a source of energy within you. The body gets lighter as you lean back. And then I want you to relax the spine, not using any more muscle, supporting the weight of your body with the spine. Now I want you to focus on top of your shoulder. I want you to lift up your shoulder, bring your entire body towards the sky again. And then I want you to open the shoulder. Open the shoulder as far back as you can, as if you're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. And then I want you to slowly drop down the shoulder and relax and relax. I'm going to start today's exercise with some joint exercise, not just for the muscle and the tendon, but to clear the chi channel. I want you to feel your wrist. I want you to feel your elbow. And I want you to feel your shoulder. Now come back to the center of your palm, mind, body together. Bring up your hand slowly, gently, all the way in front of you, about shoulder level. Now I want you to focus on the wrist. I want you to turn the wrist one turn at a time, but I want you to think about each turn being individual from the other. In other words, each turn has a beginning and an end. And in the beginning, I want you to say to yourself, where is my mind? I want to bring my mind back to my wrist. And once I bring it to my wrist, I'm determined to follow from the beginning to the end. This is actually one of the parami. In the future, I will talk about the parami. One of the parami or paramita in the South tradition called the determination. After you make a turn, I want you to say to yourself again, I'm going to do another one. The next one is at least as focused as the first one. One turn at a time, one turn at a time. Now go back, continue to separate these motions one by one, one by one, one by one. Now I want you to bring down your hands. I want you to focus on the center of your palm first. Bring it down the same way you bring it up. Once again, I want you to stretch the spine, lean back, relax, lift up the shoulder, open the shoulder, and then relax. Now we're moving from the wrist to the elbow. I want you to feel your elbow. I want you to come back to the center of your palm, bring it back up. And now I want you to focus on your elbow. Once again, I want you to rotate it one turn at a time, one turn at a time, one turn at a time. Always a beginning and an end. When you get to the end, you refocus, recommit to the next one. Let the last one go. Let the last one go. One turn at a time, one turn at a time, one turn at a time. Now I want you to rotate the other way, but make sure that your mind is anchored on your elbow. One turn at a time. Feel the change in your elbow. See if there's any heat, any sweat, any numbness, any pain. Now I want you to lower your hand again. Focus on the center of your palm. Bring it back down the same way you brought it up. And then once again, stretch the spine. Open the shoulder, lean back, relax the shoulder, relax the spine. We're moving from the wrist to the elbow now to the shoulder. Once again, focus on the center of your palm. Bring it back up. Cross your hand this time. Bring it in front of you. Bring it on top of you. And then now I want you to stretch the entire upper torso towards the ceiling. And then I want you to focus on the center of your palm. Turn your wrist 90 degrees. Open that shoulder. Feel the change in your shoulder. Once you get down, I want you to completely relax. Let go of the last one. Continue with the next one. Follow the center of your palm. Stretch. Open the wrist. Point the center of your palm outward as if you're touching the walls. Feel the change in your shoulder. Back up again. One turn at a time. Stretch. Open the shoulder. Point the palm towards outside. Relax. We're going to do this 2 more times. Stretch. Open. Feel the pain in your shoulder. Let go of that pain. Come back. One last time. Stretch. Open. Relax. Now we're going to turn the other way. Open first. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open first. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open first. Stretch. Bring it back down. Open first. Stretch. And then bring it back down. Now we're going to go from front to back. We're going to do some pain on the shoulder, and we're going to use it as a vehicle for mindfulness. So somewhere down the path, I'll be talking about the 37 factors of enlightenment. Think of this 37 factors as part of a puzzle with 7 pieces that are overlapping. And one of the pieces is called mindfulness. And there are 4 foundations of mindfulness: the body, the feeling, the mind, and the Dharma. So right now, we're actually practicing one of those foundations, which is a foundation of the mindfulness of the feeling. Now, Buddha's teaching basically says that there are 3 kinds of feeling: bodily feeling, feeling of the body. Of course, there's also body of the mind, but let's just start with the body. the pleasant feeling, the unpleasant feeling, and the neutral feeling. And the idea of the mindfulness of the feeling is to experience that feeling, feel it, feel it completely, feel it without any of your own emotion contaminated by your own emotion, your attachment, your aversion, any of that. Just feel it as it is. Once you feel it, you need to learn to accept it, and then you need to learn it, let it go. All right, so we're going to continue to do that now. Stretching our spine, open, lift up our shoulder, open our shoulder, lean back the upper torso, completely relax. Let's focus on the center of your palm again. This focusing on the body is what I call mindfulness. I call it anchoring. It's important to understand the importance of anchoring. We're at the beginning of a major storm that would affect our existence in a what would be called a democratic society ruled by law. It's frightening to think what will happen in the next 4 years and perhaps even the next 12 years. That's a major storm. Let's learn how to anchor within the storm so this little body, this little boat can survive this storm. Let's anchor our mind on the center of a palm. Let's bring it up in front of us, on top of us. And let's open the shoulder as far back as we can. Let's feel that pain. Let go of the pain. Come back to the center of your palm. Don't let that pain, whether it's physical pain or mental pain, metastasize into suffering. If you follow that pain, it will become suffering. Let's do it again. Lift it up your hand, follow your hand, anchor your mind on the center of your palm. Let's open the shoulder, feel the pain, let go of the pain, anchor your mind back to the center of your palm. Another one, open it, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. One more time, two more times. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. One last time. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Sit up straight, hands in the back, continue to go up, stretch, bring it back down, all the way back, stretch, bring it back down, all the way back, stretch, and then bring it back down, all the way back, stretch, and then bring it back down. Now, mindfulness can be done in all four postures, right? I often said that human beings are the only species that are capable of all four postures. And so we need to learn to meditate on all four postures, especially we spend so much time in motion. We only sleep 6, 7, 8 hours a day, maybe sit down a little bit. All those are what I call static posture. We do a lot more working with the fingers, walking with our feet, exercising, and so forth. A lot more time on this. So we need to learn how to meditate in motion. So what we just did, even though it looks like we're exercising, we do much more than that. We are also meditating. It's just that we're meditating in motion. And when you meditate in motion, you anchor your mind on your body. Choose some convenient spots to center your palm. The fingers, when you work in the kitchen or in the yard, when you're using your fingers, the bottom of your feet when you're walking, right? All those are places that you can anchor your mind. But when we come back to the steady state, the static form, whether we're standing, lying down before we go to sleep, or we're sitting like we do now, then we do the opposite. We will anchor our mind on our breath. Before we learn to anchor our mind on breath, let's at least know that we're breathing. So I want you to come back to the body again, stretch, open the shoulder, lean back, completely relax, and just focus on your breath, one breath at a time. Just say to yourself, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Right? Now, breathing is the only bodily functions that can be either done with your mind or not with your mind. It's the only one. Think about it, right? So if I want to lift up my arm, I have to focus. I have to use my mind to say, lift it up, right? Now, if my hands lift up by itself without me thinking, that's a problem. On the other hand, the heartbeat and all the other body exercise, body function, the motor functions, uh, they don't need your mind, right? If I have to tell my heart to continue to beat, and if I stop thinking about it, it stop beating, that would be a problem too. But breathing is that bridge right in the middle. You can forget it, it breathes on its own. Or you can use it as a tool to actually observe your breath and contemplate your breath. And that bridge is between your body and your mind. So whenever you're sitting, you're lying down, you're standing, and you feel anxiety and anger and fear and all these things that are around us now, the only way is to focus on your breath. At first, you feel that you're huffing and you're puffing and the breath is all over the place. Well, it reflects your mind because your mind is not settled. So just focus on your breath, one breath at a time, one breath at a time. Okay? All right, so we're going to do three more exercises and then I'll come back to this breathing technique. By focusing on the breath, we're moving from the mindfulness of the feeling to the mindfulness of the body. But in this case, it's not the body as in here, but their entire existence. So your existence, our existence is a breath, right? It's interesting. Regardless of the color of skin, regardless of a gender, regardless of a preference, regardless of anything, we have one thing in common, which is when we were born, we take an in breath. When we're ready to leave, transition to something else, we take our last out breath. It's always like this. Regardless of how rich you are, how poor you are, how hateful you are, how loving kindness you are, first breath is always in, last breath is always out. That is our existence. So when we talk about the mindfulness of the body, we're talking about the mindfulness of our existence. Therefore, we focus on the breath, one breath at a time. Okay. Now, before we do that, let's do three more exercises. Wrap up the mindfulness of the feeling by doing this exercise called double blade. It's similar to what we just did, again on the shoulder, but causing even more pain, but using the pain as a tool for our emancipation. Lift up, open, lean back, relax. Left hand in front, right hand stretch. Focus on the right hand. Bring the right hand around in a big circle without moving the left hand. Bring it as far back as you can. Feel that pain. Accept that pain. Let go of the pain. Don't let it become suffering. Don't let it become suffering. Now focus on the left arm. Bring it around all the way back. Feel it. Accept it. And then let it go. Sit up straight all the way around. Feel it. Accept it. And then let it go. Left hand. Sit up straight. Feel it. Accept it. And then let it go. Right hand all the way around. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left hand, feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Right hand, two more times. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Left hand, one last time. Feel it, accept it, and then let it go. Back to our breath, one breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Start with knowing, and then later on, after two more exercises, we will focus on anchoring, and then finally on contemplating. One breath at a time, one breath at a time. Okay, now the second exercise and then the third exercise, it's about losing relaxing, right? As well, relaxing, activating our parasympathetic nerve, right? Because in order to observe your breath um, in a non-attachment, non-aversion kind of way, you need to be quite relaxed. Okay, you need to learn to return to the rest and digest. All right. So we're going to start with an energetic exercise, and then we're going to finish it with a restorative exercise. These last three exercises is part of the Nine Gong practice of the Shaolin Temple. Nine means inner chi, inner energy. The second one is called throwing the fist. The Shaolin monk practice this in order to extend the reach when they punch, they're warriors under the right circumstances. They would do what they had to do, so they practice. All right. So once again, stretch, open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Let's lift up our right arm, anchor our mind on the center palm, making a fist. Get ready, aim at the upper left corner. Up. Now, don't be such a hurry. Let's feel the reaction coming back to our shoulder. Up. Come back, sit up straight. Down. Down. Up. Up. Down. Down. One last time. Up. Up. Down. Down. Now, two hands. Open your shoulder. Focus on both hands. One. Feel the vibration coming back to your shoulder. Two. Three. Four. And five. All right. Now, the Chinese approach to health is let the body heal itself. The body is capable of great things, including healing itself. It heals itself when you have, for example, when you have inflammation, right? When you twist your ankle, when you attack by external factors, the body is capable of healing itself. Of course, sometimes it needs help, but for the most part, it knows how to heal itself. It does that by putting out the right kind of hormone, particularly the right kind of steroid, something that we call cortisol. When the cortisols are released, it reduces the inflammation. But when the hormone is released, it also shuts down a lot of the bodily functions because it assumes that you are in danger. You are outside of the safety of your cave. You're being chased by wild animals. So while it's reducing the inflammation in the body, it also shuts down your digestion, your immune system, your reproductive systems, all the things that the body thinks that you don't actually need right now when you're being chased by a lion. But then once you return to the safety of the cave, the body cycles into the rest and digest. It reverses itself. It turns back on all the systems that has been turned off, It turns on your immune system, it turns on your digestive system, it turns on your reproductive system. It does that by restoring its sensitivity to the story. Now, what happened is that just in the last 60 years, as far as long as I've been around, we're outgrowing our evolution. We're constantly running away from the lions. So our body is oversaturated with these steroids and it loses the sensitivity. So to restore that, we need to find the balance between the fight or flight and the rest and digest. You need to find this balance between energizing yourself versus restoring yourself. So we do this in pair. We first energize the body, release the stress hormone, so we reduce the inflammation. And now we do the other part, the counterpart, which is to restore the sensitivity to the story by energizing a vagus nerve, energizing our parasympathetic nerve. And we do that by continuing with our exercise of stretching our spine, focus on the bottom of the spine, walk up the spine, stretch the spine, stretch towards the ceiling as someone is pulling the hair on top of your head. And then we lean back, relax. Now we focus on the shoulder, we lift up our shoulder as high as we can. We open the shoulder as much as we can, and then we relax. We're now going to take a thumb and put it in front of the shoulder. We're going to roll up the forefingers. We're going to continue to do this exercise with the spine and the shoulder and the neck and the back, but we're going to combine it with some deep breathing, energizing the diaphragm. We do this in four parts. First one, we lift up our elbow, we lift up our shoulder, we stretch upper torso towards the ceiling until as if you're bringing your shoulder to your ears. The second part is when we point the elbow back, we open the shoulder, we open it as much as we can as we're squeezing a tennis ball in the back. The third is when we drop down the elbow and the shoulder and we're completely relaxed. The last one, the fourth one, is when we point the elbow forward. Now we're looking at the ceiling, we're hunching our back, we're bending our neck. From here, we lift up the elbow, we follow the elbow, we're looking straight ahead, we stretch the upper torso, and then we open, we're looking at the ceiling, 45 degree, we open all the way back, and then we drop the elbow, we're looking straight ahead again, we continue until elbow is pointing forward, we completely hunch. From here, we're going to take a deep breath, we close the mouth, we breathe in very gently, very slow, all the way until we are completely open. And then we're going to breathe out. And when you breathe out, you want to be completely relaxed until your elbow is pointing forward. And then we start over again. Breathe in, stretch, open, breathe out, relax until we completely squeeze out all the stale air in the lung. And then we breathe in again. And then we breathe out again. We breathe in again. And then we breathe out again. Always relax on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, stretch, open, breathe out, relax. Two more times. Breathe in, breathe out. One last time. Breathe in and breathe out. Now we're ready to meditate. This time we're meditating in a static form, which is the most common way of meditating. We meditate while we're sitting, and when we meditate while we're sitting, then we're completely focused on the breath. Before we do that, let's make sure that we're sitting properly. We divide our body into 7 parts. We start with the legs. We sit like the bell, the Liberty Bell, so the legs are the pedestal. If you sit on the chair, like most of my other students, you put the bottom of your feet firmly on the ground, put it right below your knee, not in front, not behind. If you sit like I do now, if necessary, you put some blankets and pillows so that you're not using your leg muscle. Then you relax your hands, you rest it on your thigh, on your knee, on your calf, anywhere, just relax. Then comes back to our old friend, our spine. We need to align our spine with the heaven and earth. The universe is unbound. We want to be the center of that universe. So we focus on the very bottom of our spine. We walk up the spine like the dragon. We stretch the spine as we walk towards the ceiling as hard as we can. Then we lean back and then relax. Comes to our shoulder, we lift up our shoulder, we open our shoulder, and we relax the shoulder. Now the upper torso is supported by the spine, not using muscle except for the neck. The neck is still supporting our head, which is quite heavy, about 15-20% of your body weight. So we need to focus on the forehead. Lean back the forehead slowly until the ears on top of the spine. Then we want to focus on the chin, tuck in the chin, so the top of the head is on top of a spine. This posture is called the one pillar supporting the sky. We are the beings between the earth and the heaven. Finally, we come to our eyelid. We close our eye, but we don't shut it. We don't shut it tight. We just relax. Just imagine how the baby sleeps. They shut the eye, but they don't shut it tight. Just relax. So you see a little bit of light coming through your eyelashes. You can kind of see the floor, maybe your knee, maybe your hands, maybe even the bridge of your nose, the tip of your nose, I mean. Okay, just relax. And then finally, relax your jaw. Take the tip of the tongue and put it behind the teeth where the teeth meets the roof of your mouth. You close your mouth. You immediately feel slivers inside your mouth. You're turning the saliva gland back on because you're now in rest and digest. The saliva is very, very important. It's the beginning of your digestion. It's the beginning of your immune system. It's even the beginning of your reproductive system. So we talk about hydration, which is important, but more important than that is self-hydration. Now that you got your posture, we're going to come back to a breath. Once again, we start with knowing. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Now we're going to go from knowing to anchoring. Let's anchor our mind on the belly button. When you feel that you're breathing in, I want you to move the belly button forward slightly. When you know that you're breathing out, I want you to move the belly button back. Breathe in, forward. You feel that your stomach's open because you're bringing your diaphragm down, increasing your lung capacity. And when you breathe out, you bring the belly button back, you're collapsing the stomach because you're pushing the diaphragm up, pushing out all the stale air at the bottom of your lung. It's very simple. Breathe in, forward, breathe out, backward. Let's sit for 5 minutes. One breath at a time. Okay, now we're going to move to the second part. I want you to come back to the posture again. This time I'm going to add a little bit of nuance to it. I want you to stretch the spine again towards the ceiling. Before leaning back, I want you to lean forward. And then I want you to lean back, but as you lean back, I want you to keep the hip in place so the hip is actually forward, but the rest of the upper torso is back. As you lean back, you feel the stress on the two sides of your lower back where the kidneys are. This first part actually is about cultivating the chi. The chi comes from the kidney, or at least what we call the kidney energy channel. The kidney energy channel is the water element. To add life to water, you need mineral. The mineral is the lung energy line. That's why we're doing the breathing exercise, why we're activating the lower abdomen, activating the chi. The next part is about letting that chi rise, and you do that with the fire element, warm up the water, so to speak. And the fire element is the heart. But in Chinese, they don't separate the heart from the mind. It's actually the mind. So now what we're going to do is we continue to feel a breath. I feel I'm breathing in. I actually notice my stomach opens by itself slightly. I feel that I'm breathing out. I notice that my stomach collapsed slightly. I want to maintain that feeling, but now I'm going to anchor my mind on the lower part of my spine. As I breathe in, I walk up the spine like a dragon, one step at a time towards the top of the head. And as I breathe out, I walk from the front down, from the top of the head to the forehead, to my nose, through the tongue, back to the belly button. As I breathe in, I stretch my spine towards the ceiling, going from the bottom of the spine to the top of the head. As I breathe out, I come back. I lean back my upper torso and I relax. Let it come to my belly button. I breathe in, stretch, moving from the bottom of the spine to the top of the head. I breathe out. I come back from the front, slowly, gently, relax. Let's sit for another 5 minutes. Okay, open your eyes. All right. So, as I said, after 9 o'clock, when I do the Dhamma talk today, I'll start with the 8 limbs of yoga, and you realize that what we're doing here is part of that 8 limbs, right? So, and then towards the end, we'll do the breathing exercise. And right now, we're doing something called in the Buddhist language would be called samatha, samatha. And then there's a equivalent word in the 8 limbs yoga. We'll get to that. Now, the modern scientists are starting to understand, starting to find explanation for this technique. This is an ancient um, longevity technique populated by the Taoists. And the first part, breathing with your stomach, pushing the diaphragm, that's just preparation. As you do that for a while, your body attains some muscle memory, and it's really all about circling the chi around. And so the scientists are saying, oh, so what they're doing is they're breathing with the stomach, they're moving their diaphragm, they're actually massaging the small intestines. The small intestines are piezoelectric. So there's a lot of electrons that they store here. That's why they call it the dantan, the field of fire. And now what they're doing is they're using the chamber between the left brain and the right brain, which is not very well understood. And just by thinking about it, we're providing a electric potential, and we're bringing those static electricities up to the top of the head through a spine, which is conductive, and then we're going to provide the return path through a tongue back to the stomach. Now, as it turns out, when we talk about health, the most important aspect of health is neurological health. It's the health of our brain. So what we're doing is we're passing the chi, the life energy, through the membrane between the left brain and our right brain, separating the integrity, maintaining the integrity of the left brain by the right brain. And the Chinese thinks that that's longevity. That's longevity, right? And I talk about this many before from my own personal experience, seeing the deterioration of my dad as he was suffering from dementia. The first sign of dementia is not the loss of memory. The first sign of dementia is the loss of your fingers. You're losing coordination of your fingers. You're also losing the balance. And then finally, your thinking mind, it deteriorates because the emotional part and the logical part, the two sides of the brain, start to mingle. That's why I remember. So I believe that this technique is both about using your abdomen, exercising between the fight or flight and the rest and digest. When you breathe in, you open the stomach, you actually enter into the fight or flight, the sympathetic. And when you breathe out using your stomach, you're coming back to the parasympathetic, the rest and digest, maintaining that health, the harmony between your two autonomous nerve system, therefore promoting the self-healing. And then the second part, or maybe for most of you, it becomes the only part because you're so used to breathing with your stomach now, as I do, then you just focus on cycling the chi around. Now, we're going to be doing some exercise, and after that, I will talk about the technique, the evolution of this technique called the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. And the pearl is when you actually feel the rise of the chi. You're not leading it anymore, you're following it. And that's when you create magnetic resonance between the magnetic field that are within your body and the magnetic field that are outside your body. All right. All right. So let's quickly do some more exercise. Now we're going to go to another limb of yoga, which is back to the one that we all know, which is the asana, the practice of the body. So we're going to do some stretching, but we're mainly going to stretch the yang energy part, which is all the parts that are facing the sun, the back, the side, the back of the arm, and so forth. All right. All that is connected back to the diaphragm. The diaphragm. The diaphragm is the mother of all connected tissue. All right, so let's stretch, lift up our shoulder, lean back, open the shoulder, and then relax. We're going to do 3 deep breaths by locking our fingers. Put that below the belly button. We're going to focus on the center of the palm. As we breathe in, we follow the center of the palm and we lift up the upper torso. Get ready? Breathe in, rotate, and then follow the hand, breathe out. Stretch, look straight ahead, unlock the fingers, lock the elbow, use your shoulder as if you're climbing, stretching the upper part of your arm as well as your shoulder. Second time, breathe in, breathe out, looking straight ahead, climb the mountain, stretching the upper arm and the shoulder. Get ready. Third time, one last time, breathe in. Breathe out, looking straight ahead, climb the mountain. And then back to locking your fingers again, palm facing up, palm facing down. Stretch until you lock your elbow, looking straight ahead. Lift up your arm until your palm is facing the camera. Continue to lift up until your palm is facing the sky. Now lean back slightly, form a straight line between the bottom of your spine, the top of your head, and the center of your palm, and you push towards the heaven. You push as hard as you can, and then you lean back, continue to lock your elbow. You come back to the center, you push and you push and you push, and then you lean to the left. You come back to the middle, you push until you lean to the right. You come back to the middle, you're looking straight ahead and you push, and then back to the left one last time, back to the middle one last time, forming that straight line, and you push, and then finally to the right, back. Focus on the center of your palm, bring down your hand, relax. Back to the spine, stretch, open the shoulder, lean back and relax. Now take your right palm, put that on your left shoulder, lean back your forehead so you're putting pressure on the right shoulder. You take your left hand, you grab your right elbow, you stretch, and then you bring it to the left, and then come back, changing hand, left hand on right shoulder, right hand on left elbow. Okay, lean back the forehead so you're putting pressure on the left shoulder, and then you all the way to the right. Back to breathing. Now, examine your breath, see if you're huffing and puffing. If you're huffing and puffing, you're in fight or flight as you should, which is a good thing because the body releases stress hormone, it reduces your inflammation, chronic inflammation. But now you need to restore that harmony by focusing on your breath. You examine your breath and you say, I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. And all of a sudden you find that you're breathing more peacefully, which means that your mind is at ease, which means that you're no longer releasing stress hormone. You are actually restoring sensitivity to the stress hormone. Very, very important. Back to the exercise, stretch, open, relax. Left hand palm facing up. Right hand, put that between your fingers and your palm. Sit up straight. Bring the left hand down. Lock the elbow, looking straight ahead. Push until the palm is facing the camera at the eye level. Now, without turning your body, lock your elbow. Take your left hand and bring it to the right. Come back and then relax. Sit up straight. Left hand, palm facing the sky. Left hand, bring it down. Lock the elbow, looking straight ahead. Bring it up. Without turning the body, right hand to the left. Come back and then relax once again. Check your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Stretch, open, lean back, relax. Right palm facing up, left palm facing down. Open the shoulder, wrist at 90 degrees. Now push the sky as if you're supporting the sky all the way up. Lock the elbow. Now focus on the left palm facing down. You're pushing down the earth all the way down until you lock the elbow. You take your right arm, you lean back, then you turn your head to the left, to the shoulder, then you keep turning your eyeball as if you're looking at the back. You bring back the eyeball, you bring back your head, and then you relax. You go to the other side, open that shoulder, push until you lock your elbow. Right hand, push until you lock your elbow. Bring back the left, turn to the right, eyes to the back, eyes come back, head come back, and then completely relax. Back to the breathing, one breath at a time. Okay, now we're going to do some exercise focusing on the back, especially our spine. And so sit up straight, open the shoulder, lean back, and relax. All right. Now we're going to lock our fingers, palm facing up, put that at the bottom of your spine. Turn so that the palm is facing down. Push down until you lock your elbow. You focus on top of the head and the center of your palm at the same time. Okay. Now you one up, one down. Stretch your spine. One up, one down. The top of the head to the ceiling, the bottom, the center of your palm towards the earth. One up, one down, and then relax. Lean back the forehead so you're looking at 45 degrees. Then you lift up your arm as much as you can. And then you relax. Back to the breathing. One breath at a time. Calm down. Stretch. Open. Relax. Lean back. Right palm touching the back. Top of the head to the sky, looking straight ahead. Lift up the right shoulder, sorry. And relax. Now to the left hand, once again, looking straight ahead. Lift up your left shoulder and then relax. Back to the breathing. Stretch your spine, open the shoulder, lean back. Right palm, back of the hand at the lower part of your spine. Two fingers pointing to the left elbow. Bring your right elbow down and your fingers up. Relax. Left hand pointing to your right elbow, bringing the left shoulder down and the fingers up. Now bring two hands, fingers touching. Sit up straight so you're looking straight ahead. Right shoulder up, left shoulder down, and then relax. The other way. Looking straight ahead, don't look down. Left shoulder up, right shoulder down, and then back to the breathing. One breath at a time. One breath at a time. Now stretch, lean back, open shoulder, relax. Palm of the hand touching each other, fingers pointing down. Put that on your lower back. Rotate so fingers are pointing up. Bring up the hands, but make sure that your palm of the hand are touching. Sit up straight, looking straight ahead. Using your hand to push your spine forward, and then use your shoulder to bring it back. One open, one back, one forward. Maintain that pressure, focusing on your breathing. And then relax. Back to the breath. One breath at a time. Okay. All right. So now we're ready for the core exercise. Notice that we spend a lot of time sitting, right? There's a historical reason for that. Because in the beginning, many of my students were chair-bound. Not so easy for them to stand. And so we do a lot of that exercise. We kind of do that. But now we finally get to the floor. Let's continue to do some joint exercise, starting with your knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're moving from the knee to the heel. Right foot first. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now left foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to the toes. Right. Let's stand, focusing on the top of the head. And we lift up a heel, standing on our toes without losing focus. And then we come down, impact the heel slightly. Okay, do this on the carpet, not on the hard floor, okay? Lift up again, standing on our toes, come back, right? Now, if you suffer from dementia, you won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do any of the balancing exercise. So before we have a deterioration of a neurological system, let's practice this, okay? Now we're gonna stand on the left foot, balancing by focusing entirely on top of a head, looking straight ahead. We're going to kick the right foot. Get ready. One, come back to the top of the head. Two, three. Now you stand to the right. Can't talk and stand at the same time. You ready? One, two, and three. All right. Okay. So we now get all ready. We're ready to do some pranayama, breathing exercise. Breathing exercise with the lower stomach. Now, it turns out that you don't actually even think about it. It's all designed so that the abdominal breathing is integrated. So all you have to do is focus on the center of your palm. This is meditation. It's meditation. It's mindfulness in motion. Bring it up. One. Bring it towards yourself. Two. Bring it down, lower the knee. Three, stand up. Four. We breathe in, one and two. We breathe out, three. Using your nose, close your mouth. Four is to relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. Follow your hand, okay? Don't let your mind drift away, okay? Now cross your hand, breathe in, open, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. One last time. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and breathe out. And stand up. Now we're going to do standing meditation. We sit like the bell, we stand like the pine tree. So your feet are like the roots. Let's grow some roots, stand firmly. The rest of the tree has to be elastic. So when the wind blows, you can go with it. And if the tree is not elastic, then when the wind comes, it's going to just like this, right? So how do you make the body elastic? Loosening up your knee, open the shoulder, loosening up the shoulder, lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin, loosening up the forehead, loosening up your eyelid, and then just focus on your breath, one breath at a time, okay? I know I'm breathing in, I know I'm breathing out. Okay, now we move to the second form, which is called balloon breathing. So right foot first, lean back so the toes on the right foot are pointing up, and you lean back so you're looking at the ceiling, 45 degrees. You bring up your hand, you follow the center of your palm, you roll your body forward so you're looking at the floor now, 45 degrees. Your left foot heel is up. You open back up, looking at the ceiling. As you roll your body forward, you breathe in with your nose, breathe in. And as you roll your body back, you breathe out. All the time focusing on the center of your palm. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly, gently, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now, focus on the center of your palm. Bring it down with your mind. Now, go from the center of your palm to the bottom of your feet. One step, two step, and then now focus entirely on your breath. And when you do standing meditation, try not to shut your eye. Okay, you need to look at the floor. You need to be able to retain that sense of orientation. So you can close your eye, but don't shut it tight, so you can actually see the floor. And if your body moves, at least you maintain that sense of balance. One breath at a time. Okay, now to the left. Get ready? Go. Oh, sorry. Breathe in, breathe out. Relax. Always relax on the out breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out. One last time. In, out. All right, lower your hand. Back to the standing. 1 minute of standing meditation. Focus entirely on your breath, right? So when we exercise, we're doing the pranayama, there's mindfulness in motion. And now we're mindfulness while maintaining stillness. So one is on the body, and now it's on the breath. Okay, now to the third form called the butterfly. This one requires a lot of concentration, okay? Require a lot of your determination to focus on the center of your palm and nowhere else. Bring it up, bring it down, the knees go down, bring it back up. Now the heels go up. You're standing on your toes, but you're focusing on the center of your palm until the back of the hand are touching. You're still standing. As you come down, you breathe in. As you go up, you breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One breath at a time. Breathe in. Follow the center of your palm. Breathe out. Maintaining focus by not leaving the center of your palm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. And then breathe out. Bring down your hands. Let's do 1 minute of standing meditation. Try loosening up your knee. Try loosening up your shoulder. Try to loosen up your forehead. Try to loosen up your eyelid. And just focus on your breath. One breath at a time. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. Okay. Now to the fourth form, which is called a push hand. So this time you just stand like this. You don't need to lean back. But the key is to imagine you have a water wheel in front and you're bringing the hands up the water wheel all the way to the top. Bring it all the way down. You lower your body. And then the water wheel has a center, right? And you just push along the diagonal of the center. Okay, now breathe in all the way in and then breathe out. Breathe in. Now the key here is three things. One is you focus on the center of your palm. The second is that you do it one breath at a time. The third is you feel it, but you don't think it. You don't try to analyze anything. You just want to feel it. You can feel the air running through your fingers. You can feel the air entering into your element, and you can feel it as you push it out. In, out. In, out. Don't think it, just feel it. As Mr. Miyake says, wax on, wax off. Don't think it. Don't try to ask yourself, why am I doing this? It doesn't matter now. Just feel it. Breathe in, breathe out. In, all the way in, all the way out. One last time. Follow the hand. Breathe in, breathe out. All right. Come back. Stand properly. Loosening up your body. Focus on your breath. One breath at a time. Try not to leave your breath. Right. Okay. Now to the left. Get ready. Breathe in. Raise your hand. Lower your hand. Lower your body. And then push. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. All right. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One last time. Breathe in. Breathe out. Now come back. This is the last 1 minute standing meditation. Focus. It needs determination. You need to say to yourself, I'm not going to do anything else right now. Everything else can wait. I'm just going to focus on my breath. I'm just going to do it one breath at a time. All I need is one breath. I start from the beginning and I go to the end. And then you said to yourself, let me do another one. Then you do another one just as good as the first one. And then you do another one breath at a time. As I said before, it's like putting coins in the piggy bank. Once you put one coin, you let it go, you focus on the second coin. Make sure that the second coin is as good as the first coin. And pretty soon, you have a piggy bank full of coins. Okay, now the last one. So this study exercise, as far as I can see, it does three things. One is that it's a meditation, it's mindfulness in motion, focusing on your body. Number two is that it's a regimen of exercise to promote abdominal breathing, and I'll talk about how important that is to our health. And then one more thing that it does is that by doing exercise, not only are you doing deep breathing, taking in a lot of oxygen, you also distribute it to the vital organs. There's one vital organs left, which is your kidney. And so this next one is all about that. Okay, ready? Breathe in, breathe out, open your knee all the way down, bend your body forward, and then breathe in again, all the way up, and then bend your body back, and then relax. Now we're only going to do this 3 times. Second time, breathe out, breathe in, and then relax. One last time, breathe out, breathe in, and then relax. We're going to continue with meditation. And now we're going to move to what is called the wandering dragon chasing the pearl. The key word is wandering. Wandering means free. So we want to make sure that we're free. We're not using the intellect. We're just trying to focus on the spine by feeling it. Okay? All right. So back to the sitting position. Stretch your spine. Open the shoulder. Lean back and then relax. Lean back the forehead. Tuck in the chin. Close your eye. Tip of the tongue in the roof of the mouth. And now we're just going to go back to a breath. And after pranayama, it's very easy to feel your breath. Your stomach actually opens when you breathe in. Your stomach closes when you breathe out. Now let's start in the second, which is anchoring the mind on the bottom of the spine. As we breathe in, we rise with the chi to the top of the head. We stretch the spine. As we breathe out, we come back, close the circuit, we lean back and relax. That's exactly what we just did, except the chi that rises is what we call the pearl. Your mind is the dragon. The dragon is chasing the pearl, but the dragon needs to be free. So as you rise to the top of the head, don't try to don't try to force your head to the dragon to stay in your head. Instead, you imagine there's a cloud on top of your head. The cloud is the ancestral home of the dragon. You let the dragon be free. You let the dragon leave the top of your head, enter the cloud. The cloud could be right on top of your head and could be 3 feet on top of your head. It doesn't matter. Just let it go. Let it go. And then when you breathe out, when the body naturally breathes out, the dragon will come back. Come back to the forehead, through the bridge of your nose, to the tongue, back to the belly button. And as you come back, you lower, you relax the body. Now it enters into your stomach. You start to feel some warmth in the stomach as if your stomach is the dragon's cave. When the dragon returns to the cave, once again, you said, let the dragon be free. Let the dragon rest in the cave for as long as it wants. And only when you breathe in again, the dragon will come out. You rise with the pearl to the top of your head. You let go of the dragon. When you breathe out again, the dragon comes back. You relax your upper torso until you get to your stomach. And pretty soon, you feel very cool on top of your head and very warm in your stomach. You feel that the body is lighter and lighter as you lift it up and relax. And pretty soon, you don't remember that you're breathing. You're just going up with the chi, you come down with it, you go up and you come down. And it's as if you lose track of time. Let's sit for 5 minutes. Okay, open your eyes. We're going to do a little bit of massage. Always important to do some massage, wake up this body. So we're going to focus on the center of your palm, which is really between the middle finger and the index finger. You touch, you feel the two bones, and then when it comes to the center of your palm, you can either push it, do some acupressure with your thumb, or you can use the knuckle and energize this energy point. This is called the chamber of labor, and this is the only energy point, only point in the body that actually can release energy. Okay, so the energy is an important part of a self-healing, and so you want to energize that, and then you want to put that together, and then you form an empty hand. You put that in front of your eye. Okay, you can either do this with eye closed or wide open, but if you do it wide open, make sure you adjust your palm so that you're not seeing any visible light. Okay, now let's get started. First time, put that in the eye. You feel a little bit of warm, maybe not so much. Second time, your eyes adjusting to the infrared so we feel a little bit more warm. Third time, put that on your eye. All right. Now we're going to massage the face gently from the forehead to the chin. Then we're going to massage the side of the head, massage the temple, put the chamber of the labor on top of the temple. And then we're going to massage the forehead, starting with in between the eyebrow. You notice when you do that, there's a little bit of tenderness. It actually relieves a lot of stress that are trapped between the eyebrow. Then you massage the forehead. And then there's this point where the hairline comes together. You massage that. Then you massage the brain that is responsible for all your cognitive functions. You move towards the back, responsible for memory, move further down, responsible for motor function, massage your neck, massage above the ear, back to the throat, and then back to the hand. Always massage, right? Always massage after you meditate, especially when you meditate for more than 15 minutes, right? Yeah, make that a practice. Okay, so that's the end of class. It'd be fine if you leave. Um, if you'd like to stay, I'm going to do another Dharma talk, and hopefully you enjoy this one too. And as I said today, I'm going to be talking about the 8 limbs of yoga. So you can look it up. Now I'm going to put all the class notes in our YouTube recording, our Facebook recording, as well as our Patreon. All right, so you can reference to it. And but before I talk about the 8 limbs of yoga as the beginning of practice, as the foundation of a practice, and I want to kind of remind ourselves what we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks since our last election. So first, I talk about the 5 skandhas, because all along in the beginning of this class, when I started doing this about 4 years ago, I always said that even though I talk about chi therapy, I practice chi as a journey, not a destination. The destination is all about the liberation or the emancipation of a mind, correct? And so it would be like saying, Danny, I hear you know how to invest. Maybe you should invest for me. I said, oh, that's fine. I said, so I hope, I said, where do you put your money right now? And he says, I don't know. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I don't know. I don't know where my monies are. So how do you expect me to invest for you? In other words, if we're talking about liberation of the mind, emancipation of the mind, first we got to figure out where is our mind. And then first, before even that, is we got to figure out what is the mind made up of? What are the dimensions of existence? So I talk about the 5 skandhas. I talk about the first one being the form, which is everything that is physical about us and the surrounding. It's really like a funnel taking the physics through our physiology. The eye sees the light, the nose sees the smell, and the taste, and the ear, and the touch, like that, right? Okay, so that's the first standard. Um, it's taking the physics through the physiology. The second standard is called the sensation. Is taking the using the physiology to generate neural signal. So that's the neurology. That's all about the spine. That's all about sensation, feeling it without judging. And that's the key to our practice, by the way. But in any case, our body continues. All the nerve ending goes into our spine, and then eventually it is centralized, and then it delivers to our brain. Right? Our brain is a thinking mind. Our thinking mind is intellect, but it's a small part of our intellectual system. And that's a problem, is that we don't understand beyond the intellect. There's a lot more intelligence in this body, not just in the spine, but all through our body. There's a lot of intelligence in that, but we tend to ignore that. And so part of our practice is to go back to that and just let go of the intellect a little bit. But in any case, it goes from sensation to, hang on just one second. I want to make sure that I use the right word. And then it goes from, where is it? It goes from sensation to perception. That's when we start to perceive things, right? So when you put a piece of chocolate bar in front of me, or a chocolate ice cream, all I see is brown. I don't know how to judge whether I like it or not. But then when it gets to the brain, the intellect, we start judging. We start to say, "Oh, I like this. I don't like this." Right? So that's called the perception. And from the brain, we generate a thought. That's called the volition. Now, the volition breaks down into what I call the virtuous mental state versus the non-virtuous mental state, right? And it goes beyond that, called consciousness. But we're not going to talk about that today. We've already talked about it a little bit, and we'll come back to that in the future anyway. So this has been a busy month for my wife and I, right? So we started with two dogs that we have to dog sit for our needs. One is a big German Shepherd. One is a tiny little mutt. So every time I walk them, I have to walk both of them, right? Right. And so the neighbor sees that, and they see this cute little puppy, and they wanted to see if he's friendly. And I said, no, 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 it's not my dog. And by the way, this is the aggressor. The little one is the aggressor. The big one is the protector. Walking with the big German Shepherd is like driving with a Humphrey. Everybody stays away. Anyway, the point is, if you think about our mental states, and there are 51 of them, 51 mental factors, you can easily divide it into aggressive part and a protective part, in a way, right? Or one is called non-virtuous and one is called virtuous. So I talk about that. And the non-virtuous parts, is the fear, is the anger, is the violence, and all that. And so you know what I'm getting at, right? So our past election is all about focusing on the fear and the hate, because it's part of us. We're all capable of that. But they want to make that into a common language. It's the common currency now. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to go for a long, long time, and that's very sad. But in any case, let's just study that some more. And then we said, okay, now if you take all the non-virtuous mental factor, they group into something called the five scanders. The five scanders are the, I'm sorry, the five hindrances. And the reason why I call it hindrances is because we don't think about the virtuous versus the non-virtuous as the angel and the devil on the shoulder, that they're co-equal. What we think about is that the virtuous is the real the real inside of us. It's the sun, it's the warm, it's the Holy Spirit. Whereas the non-virtuous is the black cloud that is covering that, so we can't even see it most of the time, right? So that black cloud is called hindrances. It hinders us from seeing the true self. And the five hindrances come back to basically attachment, aversion, right? One is I see something I want to see more. I don't understand why it's going away. The other one is aversion. When I see something I don't like, I'm pushing away. I become very negative, very violent even, right? So that kind of explains the campaign. The campaign is now becoming a campaign of grievance, right? make America great again is going back to the time when a white male has representation in the government. This is where it was when I first came to the country. But now it's not the case. It's not the case, right? The country is represented equally by women, people of color, people with educations, people with different preferences, and so that makes it very uneven for the traditional people, and it becomes a campaign of grievance. They're focusing now on the five hindrances. That becomes the common language. So we need to understand that. So beyond that is depression, anxiety, and then also doubt, loss of faith. Loss of faith in the government. Loss of faith in government. Throwing it all away with the bathwater, right? So once upon a time, people before the election, people said, "Well, be careful. We'll be walking, sleepwalking into a dictatorship." Well, no, we didn't sleepwalk. We march into a dictatorship because they have no faith. We have no faith. How can we have a faith in a government that doesn't even represent us? I'm talking from the working poor, the people who can't make ends meet, the people who are overtaxed because of inflation. Inflation is a tax, right? Anyway, so we talk about five hindrances, and so now the question is that how do we overcome that? How do we overcome that? I really believe that we are like living in a matrix right now. That the matrix where the common language is hate and violence, and we're trying to we're trying to escape the matrix by believing um, that our inner self is the key to a light. So now the question is, this comes to today's presentation, is how do we get away from that? How do we maintain that spiritual health, right? How do we not let all the negativity affects our health? Because it affects our health, right? So we talk about the five elements, right? We talk about the water, which is the beginning of life. If no water, no life, right? And we talk about the vegetation, which is a very basic form of life. You got to have at least some algae, right? Then we talk about the next one, which is the fire. The fire is the sun. The sun comes through because the algae start to change the atmosphere. The sun comes through and start to warm up the soil. Then because the soil becomes capable of both transport and transportation, like waters and mineral, and then the mineral adds back into the water. So we talk about the balance of that, the harmony of that, which is the life, which is health. So when you think about having all those hate out there, having all those violence out there, you got to be careful. You got to say, hey, I got to protect myself because if I become hateful, that's a fire element. What promotes fire? Wood, vegetation. What is the wood element in the body? That's a liver. Have you noticed that people who are very angry tend to have liver cancer? So you say, well, I'm not hateful, but I'm very sad. I'm very sad with what's going on. I am very sad with what's going on. How can I'm 68 years old. I've been here since for 53 years. I haven't stopped contributing to this society. First as a student, then as a professor, then as an entrepreneur. I want to earn my place in this society. This this shining city on the hill. I want to be part of that. I just want to earn it. And it's completely broken in front of me. I am so sad. But what is sad element? Sad is water. What promotes water? Mineral. What is the mineral? Mineral is the lung. There's a epidemic of people with lung cancer that have never smoked because of sadness. And the list goes on. So we gotta not only protect mentally, we gotta protect our body. So how do we do that? Well, here's our practice. Now, people think that Buddha is some mythical element. He's not. He's a real person. He was a prince. He was a North Indian living where is now Nepal. And he decided to start his spiritual journey as a yogi. So people don't understand that. So when we talk about practice, let's start with the yoga practice. And you say, oh, yoga, I know that. That's where I wear my leotards and I do my. No, no, I'm not putting that. I'm not saying that. That's not good. That's just one branch, one limb of the eight limbs of yoga. So let's just examine what is the eight limbs of yoga, and then we should start. We should stop pretty soon. I don't want to make this. So the eight limbs of yoga. Think about it as a wheel with eight spokes. They're all co-equal. Now let's talk about the one that we know. The one that we know is called asana. That's the posture. That's the posture. Now there's more than what we practice in the United States. What we actually practice in the United States is called hatha yoga, forceful yoga. Okay, there are other ways to practice asana, but asana is important. It's the practice of the body. We just did something called the pana yama. Pana is breathing, but particularly breathing with your stomach. Yama is the practice. It's the practice of your breathing. Okay, that is important. That's another branch of yoga. And then there is another one called sense withdrawal. Sense withdrawal means that you have your six senses. You have your eye, your ear, your nose, your tongue, your body, and so forth. Now, the Chinese, they don't just call it sensors, they call it sense door. It's a door, it's a gate. And what's inside, what's outside. What's outside is the physics, is the light, is all that. And our job is not to withdraw from it, but to protect ourselves from it. In other words, we're like the dogs guarding a household. When a suspicious person comes around, you say, "Whoa," just make sure that, "Oh, I know you, I see you, I feel you." But as long as that person doesn't enter the household, you let it go, right? You don't chase after the person, because if you chase after the person, then the door is wide open. So that's what we would call mindfulness. And in traditional Indian, it's called pratihara. Okay, it's sense withdrawal. So there's another one. So it's really about the body, the the the, the breath, and at least in this case is the mind, is the mindfulness. Is always remember where is your mind. You anchor your mind on your body, you anchor your mind on your breath, just to guard yourself from the disturbance and outside. Now that's three of them. But actually there's some prerequisites for these three, which in the Western world doesn't quite practice because they become morality. In the Western world, we don't separate morality from religion. And so you don't preach morality, right? Because it is intrudes into someone's space. But morality doesn't need to be religion. Morality is just how you conduct yourself. And so the first two limbs of the yoga is very important. The first one is called yama. Back to yama again, right? It's just practice. It's your morality. It's the discipline. It's your restraint. In other words, it's all the things that you do to protect others. There's another one called niyama. Niyama, which is kind of the companion of yama. Yama is to protect others. Niyama is how to protect yourself from the non-virtuous mental factors. Right? The simplest one of that is, how the Boy Scouts, they have to do one good deed a day. That is niyama, is how to have virtuous thoughts. So the list goes on, and it goes on to the next one. It's worth repeating. It's called dharana, which is one dialect. In another dialect, it's called jhana. Jhana. And jhana is translated into concentration or samatha, but the best translation of that is called Zen. It's the sentimentation of your non-virtuous thoughts. We're fully capable of virtuous and non-virtuous. It's like a glass of water just full of mud. The way that we can cleanse ourselves of the non-virtuous thought is to let it settle. So this word jhana, when it came to China, it becomes chana, and then later on it shortened into chan, and then when in Japan it became zen. It's a sentimentation, right? It's a sentimentation, and then finally it gets a little deeper into called samadhi, one point concentration, where I said, you start to lose track of time, you start to lose track of your own breathing, you become one with your mind. Okay, so today I'm just going to talk about that as just to remind ourselves that even though we're studying Buddhist teaching, Buddha himself was a yogi. A lot of what he does is the traditional yogic practice, and the yoga practice is the 8 limbs of yoga. A lot of similarity. Now, of course, Buddha himself have a lot of contribution that didn't exist. Just like Jesus had a lot of contribution that didn't exist in the traditional Judea society, right? And we'll talk about that, and just say that a big contribution is what we call vipassana, contemplation. Contemplation, how to feel it without judging. That was the key. All right. So enough for today. I'll put all that on the class notes, right, in the YouTube video, as well as the Facebook, as well as our Patreon. All right, thank you for all the donations, and we're coming to the end of the year, so I will send out a note about how much money we have collected this year, in addition to all the other donations that we made to Vineyard Home, but just on Insight Timer and Patreon, how much money we collected this year, and all that will go to Venerable Hong. And by the way, he did two things you should do. One is that Venerable Hong was interviewed by a wonderful woman, and Gail, and you should see that. There's a lot of really interesting discussion. Gail is a wonderful person, and then we follow up with a conversation last Tuesday that's also on YouTube. And I think all of us really understand what Venerable Home does, and appreciate what it does. Many of us wish that we could be part of that effort, but know that there are limitations to what we can do. I look forward to going into the prison with him at least once a year. I'm trying to make it twice a year, but it costs a lot of money in what he does. He he sends a lot of books into the prison. I mean, obviously, not everyone who are incarcerated are interested in understanding Dharma, but those who do, it's amazing how that book, that piece of paper, that stack of paper, meant so much to them, and how much it would change their life, how much it would change the life of the cellmates, how much it would even change the life of the prison guards, how much it would change the life of the inmate's family, right? That book is expensive, and so we need some support for that. He also does something else. He gives away a lot of stamps. Stamps are very expensive in the prison. Everything is you need to buy everything in the prison. You cannot just say, "Oh, the family sent in some stamp." No, no, no. That's not how the money works. And so stamps are very expensive. So stamps allow them to communicate with Rinpoche Hong if they have problem, allows them to communicate with the family and any other people out there who are interested in sharing with what's inside. If you are interested, let me know, and I'll connect you with Rinpoche Hong. No one needs to use the real name. No one needs to use the real address. Everything goes to the university, which is University of the West. Okay. All right. With that, I'm reminded of on my favorite TV show, Hill Street Blue, where the sergeant says to the crew, be careful out there. Namaste. See you next week. Bye bye. OK，星期一見。OK，拜拜。